The obstacle is the way. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. I remember when that power quote from Marcus Aurelius set in every cell of my being while I was on my travel journey. I traveled for 18 months with just a backpack after I sold my business in Chicago, and I was sick, I was stuck, I was disenchanted. I was decompressing my nervous system from years and years of being stuck in fight or flight, and just overloaded with adrenaline, my system. And I needed that time to decompress and to figure out my why and to figure out why I was here. And I was so resentful for my past and for having spent all of this time in corporate America and all the struggles that I had. And I felt like I wasted all that time. And, I was a coward, and I couldn't see this path of service. I couldn't see a better way. And I had all this negative ruminative self-talk. And it was, again, this moment of grace when I shifted the frame on realizing, whoa, the obstacle is the way. And everything that I've done to this point has been training for the path of service that I'm on right now. And again, it was a moment of grace when I could shift the frame and I was energetically not gripped by the past and by my shortcomings and resentment towards him or her or this group of friends or whatever it might have been. That I could find peace and acceptance and to see that, holy snap, there's a huge opportunity in everything that you've gone through and everything that could serve now as data for the path ahead. Almost this notion, I love this notion that like I was on the inside and that I had the inside track, insider information, if you will, that for what it feels like to struggle with mental health, to have toxic relationships, to have a really troublesome business relationship, to feel really, really stuck, and to be sick in my body and unhealthy, and to have horrible sleep schedules and low libido and low affect. And I was 240 pounds. I had man boobs, and I had a maroon face at times because it was just swollen from all the alcohol that I drank, and it wasn't really maroon, but it was bad. And when you see people that are drinking too much and they have too much color in their face, it's inflammation essentially. And so to wake up to the realization of whoa, don't be bitter about that, be better, and to utilize that as fuel and data for the path of service, knowing that there's so many people that are struggling with exactly what I had overcome. I was starting to feel really good in my body and thinking, wow, there's an incredible opportunity here to utilize everything that I've gone through as data. So that informed my book, Worth the Fight, a 308-page psychedelic integration book. I would love the support. You can find that at worththefightbook.org. And that, again, energetically, I wasn't gripped by the past. So I could utilize that as a framework for serving other people and to utilize my journey as an example and to raise my hand and to be open and vulnerable and real about my struggles and my challenges. I talk about this a lot, that I'm an adult survivor of childhood sexual trauma. And that's kind of taboo to be a man in our culture talking about this. But the reality is that 1 in 6 men and 1 in 4 women are subjected to childhood sexual trauma in the early years of childhood development. And that number is probably double because there's a lot of shame around sexual trauma. People would rather bite a bullet than utter those words. That's not on me. That wasn't me. I was just a child. And again, we have a suicide tragedy, an epidemic here. Men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than women. Women also struggle with mental health as well, but I think they're a little bit better with their emotions. And as being a man in our culture, I've been and men in general have been shamed to express emotion since we were 5. So it's really like hard for us. So realizing, Matt, there's an incredible opportunity here for you to lead and to share your experiences in the spirit of service. It's not fun for me to talk about this, but it feels important, and it feels like it's an invitation to any of you that are watching that might be struggling with unprocessed trauma in your nervous system, and you've done all the things and you're wondering, why you haven't. But that's the one thing so often people haven't done. They'll do anything and everything but that one thing of really addressing and confronting those past hurts. They've compartmentalized, they've repressed it, and they pushed it over here, and they have this story that it's not that big of a deal. I had that story too. And when I was in the ayahuasca journey back in late 2014 and early 2015, that powerful realization, whoa, that I've really just started my healing journey. I thought that I'd done all this inner work, and I was fooling myself about it. So I was kind of jumping in the deep end, but with that, there was an incredible opportunity to feel all the feels, to purge the trauma, to liberate the energy of trauma to the energy of life. I'm a firm believer. I've been beating this drum since I wrote and released Work the Fight on Valentine's Day 2019, Love Book for Love Day, that degree to which we lean into our darkness, the pain, the adversity, the traumas, the fierce challenges of our life is the very same degree to which we can stand and share and love in our light. So when we go into the darkness, there's an incredible opportunity for us to free up that bandwidth, free up that energy. So we're now no longer leaking all that energy and coddling those stories from yesteryear, protecting those stories. It requires energetic bandwidth, and it's exhausting. And it taxes our system. Our system is being constantly taxed with a cortisol drip, feeling like the threat is happening in real time while it isn't. It's constant drip, drip, drip. Cortisol, drip, drip, drip. Stress, stress, stress. Dis-ease in the body. And then we become sick. And then eventually there's no choice but to open up and to share and to seek help and to raise your hand. Say, hey, I need help. I need a way to work through this. And thankfully, we're in a time, it's 2026, seeking help, getting help, therapies in vogue, and there's all these consciousness practices, everything that I'm sharing on this channel around mental health, around integration, psychedelic integration, microdosing, boosting mood and energy levels. That's the hallmark of the experience. Journaling our thoughts, creating self-awareness, processing our challenges that we have. In our journals, again, bravely putting pen to paper, connecting to our breath in a meditation practice or a breathing practice, perhaps the Wim Hof method, or getting into the cold, or just a stillness meditation where we're sitting with our thoughts, following our breath, doing a letting go meditation. All these different things are all strategies. They are the way. Tying it back to the obstacle is the way. These are all the things that I do almost every single day. And I have to do them for my mental health. And I have to do them because I choose to feel good. I feel so gosh darn good most days. And that's the way that I like to live. Yeah, not every day. Some days I have my days. Typically, it's controlled though. I do a 36-hour fast once per week, so that's my day, that's my Sabbath, that's the sitting with all of the and really, really slowing down. I'll do a 36-hour water fast where I'll just drink water. Sometimes I'll have some coffee or some tea. That is minimal in terms of calories. And some say that the coffee and the tea actually help the fast, help us get into a deeper state of autophagy. That's what it's called. It's my lay understanding is when our healthy cells start to seek out our damaged cells, like Pac-Man. So that's when we're getting into autophagy, when we're in a fasted state. So again, the obstacle is the way. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. I invite you to reframe whatever it is that you're struggling with, whatever challenges that you've been through. We're in a mental health crisis. There's a lot of other people behind you. As we start to move through and start to feel better and start to transcend some of our challenges, we can look back in the spirit of service and how do I help the people that are behind me, that are still stuck in the muck, that are still struggling. And again, from my heart to yours, I wholeheartedly believe the obstacle is the way, the impediment to action advances action, what stands in the way becomes the way. And this is more than mental health. This is, I love the notion of post-traumatic growth, that there's no limit to how good we can feel and how well we can be. Yes, there's a lot of talk, and I think that most all of us are agreeable that people that are struggling with mental health, struggling with addiction, struggling with depression, anxiety, that we've got to get people those proper medicines. And that's where I believe psychedelic medicines are going to overhaul our broken, corrupt mental health model here in the West. We're done with the pills. We're done with alcohol. And these medicines, there's an incredible opportunity with the microdosing and the macrodosing. But that's going to create space for us to what I call priming prosperity pathways. Because again, who's to say how well or how good we can feel? And if we can make it from a state of stagnation and stuckness and dis-ease into wellness, then who's to tell us that we can go or how far we can take wellness to whatever the heck we want, and however expansive. And that's where we're priming prosperity pathways and utilizing the same strategies that help us to go from, again, I always use the analogy that the same way that Johns Hopkins is rewiring dis-ease into wellness, I believe that we can utilize microdosing and psychedelics to rewire scarcity into abundance. We live in an abundant universe. There's a lot of scarcity BS Inc. programs that hold us back, that keep us small. And what we're doing here at this channel is challenging those, exposing them for what they are. Bullshit Incorporated. From my heart to yours, please do check out my book, Worth the Fight. You can find that at worththefightbook.org. If you're a high achiever looking to expand your income, impact, and inner peace, please do reach out. There's a call link in the description below. Let's storm 2026 and have this be your best year ever, filled with momentum, clarity, and freedom. Let's freaking go. Love and peace.